Welcome back. We have new reports coming in that colleges are trying to now comfort students upset by Trump's victory. There was a cry-in at Cornell University. Staff were giving out tissues and hot chocolate. There was also Play-Doh and coloring books at the University of Michigan, even therapy dogs at the University of Kansas. Professors at other schools even helping students to organize protests. We've got George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley. He is highly esteemed in the academia world. Are these colleges doing a disservice to the students and to the parents, frankly, who have to pay the $50,000 plus tuition costs?
I think they are. I think that we're ruining this generation. I've said this for some time. I'm particularly concerned with law students who are given this type of treatment. You know, you need to understand as a law student and as a young lawyer that bad things happen. You lose sometimes, and you pick yourself up and you keep going. I mean, funny enough, one of the things I respect about Hillary Clinton is that she doesn't give up. She doesn't, you know, she didn't fall down and go through long periods of self, pity. We're raising a generation of emotional hemophiliacs, people who can't handle defeat or get angry when they lose an election, protesting the mere fact that a democratic process didn't turn out the way they liked. You know, you don't go to a baseball game just to see the score. You participate in politics because you're trying to change it, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't.
And Professor, we were showing right now a screen that shows what else is going on, that we've got other colleges even canceling classes, and they're making exams optional for upset students. Now, that's going too far, right?
It is. You know, I gave off election day for my students because many of them wanted to participate in the election, and I think that's a great thing. You know, some were poll watchers, some were with the various campaigns. But they all showed up the next day, and many of the students were not happy with the result. But I really respected them, and I was proud of them, that they all showed up and got back to work, because that's what you do. But there's this message that goes out, particularly to millennials. And I don't blame millennials. My students and I have talked about this before. And I said, you know, you have this reputation of the generation that gets trophies for participating. And how has that really affected you? And one of my students said, you know, we weren't the ones giving us those trophies. It was your generation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We didn't want the trophies.
Right.
And, you know, there are many millennials who feel that way. I count my students among them. But I think that academics at these universities are ruining this generation. We're trying to shape citizens that have to accept reality. They have to be, we don't want them to participate, but we also don't want them to have this sort of modern version of vapors every time things don't go their way.
Yeah, and Professor, there's no safe zones in the business world after they graduate. I mean, they have to deal with reality in the real world. I mean, this is educational malpractice. A lot of critics have said, do you think the parents have any case to make for getting any of that costly tuition dollars, the monies that they spent, back? Could they demand a refund for this kind of behavior on the part of academics?
Well, the shame is, I think, that we are failing as academics. Quite frankly, I'm proud of George Washington. I've not seen this problem, particularly at our law school, but we are failing as academics in a lot of these schools. We're seeing the rollback of free speech, we're seeing the rollback of due process. But more importantly, we're conveying to these students that they're supposed to be injured. They're supposed to feel victimization to the point that they need safe zones and they need, to be mollycoddled. There's a difference between having sympathy and being available and instilling these types of values in these students, which I don't think are helpful. They're going to go out into a real world, and that world is unpredictable, and sometimes it's pretty rough. And you have to learn to be able to get through that.
Professor Jonathan Turley, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.